The last voice note I received at 2:13 a.m. And then silence. His phone buzzed. Not a call, not a text, a voice note. And the second he saw the name on the screen, something inside him went cold. It was 2:13 in the morning. He hadn't heard from Daniel in 6 weeks. 6 weeks of silence. No replies, no check-ins, no, hey, you good? Nothing. Just the kind of quiet that starts to feel heavier the longer it sits. They hadn't fought. There was no big falling out. Daniel had just faded. One day he was there, the next he wasn't. And you know how it is. You tell yourself you'll reach out tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes a week, and a week becomes a month. And before you know it, you're strangers who used to be close. So when that notification hit the screen at 2:13 a.m., a voice note 53 seconds long, his first thought wasn't relief. It wasn't even curiosity. It was dread. He picked up the phone and just stared at it. The room was dark. The kind of dark where you can feel how quiet everything is. He noticed the timestamp first, 2:13 a.m., and it didn't sit right. Daniel wasn't a night person. He was the guy who texted back at 8 a.m. with too much energy, not the type to be recording voice notes in the middle of the night. He noticed something else too. Earlier that evening, and then around 10 p.m., he'd seen the 3 dots appear in their chat, the typing indicator. It had appeared and disappeared 3 times. No message ever came through. He'd thought nothing of it at the time. Now it felt like something. He pressed play. For the first few seconds it sounded normal. Daniel's voice, that familiar low, slightly raspy tone, came through clear. Hey man, I just wanted to reach out. A pause. I know it's been a while. Another pause. Longer this time. There's some stuff I've been meaning to say. I don't really know how to... And then something changed. It was subtle at first. Background noise that didn't quite fit. A low, hollow sound, like wind moving through something narrow. Not traffic, not a fan. Something else. He turned the volume up. Daniel kept talking, but his voice had shifted slightly. Not dramatically. Not in a way you could easily point to. But if you'd known Daniel for years the way he had, you'd hear it. The rhythm was off. The pauses were landing in the wrong places. It sounded like someone doing an impression of Daniel, almost getting it right, but not quite. And then Daniel said his name. Not in the way you say someone's name when you're talking to them, in the way you say it when you need them to really hear what comes next. Slow, deliberate, like every syllable had weight. And after his name, there was a sound, 3 seconds, maybe 4, that he still can't explain. It wasn't white noise. It wasn't static. It was something that felt intentional, like it was listening back. The voice note ended. He sat there in the dark for a long time. Then he played it again. This time he caught something in the background during that last stretch, underneath whatever that sound was. A second voice. Faint. Not loud enough to make out words. Just the presence of another voice, layered under Daniel's. He rewound it, played it again. By the 4th listen, his hands weren't fully steady. He told himself he was imagining it. He told himself it was audio compression, a bad connection. The phone mic, picking up a TV in another room. He told himself a lot of things. Then he tried to call Daniel. It rang twice and went to a generic voicemail. Not Daniel's voice, just the automated message. He called again. Same thing. He sent a text. Hey, got your voice note. You good? Call me. The 2 ticks appeared, and then they stayed gray. Not blue, gray, undelivered. He checked WhatsApp. Last seen 9:47 p.m. which meant Daniel had been active after 9 p.m., after those typing indicators, and then nothing. He opened Instagram. The account was there, but the last post was from 2 months ago. No stories, no activity. He did not sleep that night. By 4 a.m., he'd listened to the voice note 11 times. By 6 a.m., he'd convinced himself he was spiraling over nothing, that Daniel had probably sent it by accident or drunk or half asleep. People do strange things at 2 a.m. He'd written out 3 different messages and deleted all of them. He didn't know what to say because he didn't know what he was responding to. The voice note hadn't said anything alarming, not on the surface. And yet every time he played it back, the feeling in his chest didn't get smaller. It got heavier. He reached out to a mutual friend the next morning. Casually, he didn't want to seem like he was overreacting. "Hey, heard from Daniel lately?" The reply took a few hours. When it came, it was short. "Not recently, why?" He said he'd just gotten a random voice note and was checking in. The mutual friend said he'd try to reach out too. 3 days passed. Nobody had heard from Daniel. On the 4th day, he got a call from Daniel's older sister. Her voice was flat in the way voices go flat when someone has already cried everything out. She told him that Daniel had been found 2 days after he'd sent that voice note, that he had been struggling for months, more than anyone had known, and that he had been gone before most people even woke up that morning. He didn't speak for a long time after she stopped talking, because the voice note had come in at 2:13 a.m. And according to what she told him, according to what the timeline later confirmed, Daniel had already been gone for nearly 3 hours by then. He's never been able to explain that. Not logically. Not in any way that holds together under pressure. He's tried. He went back through the chat history, checked delivery receipts, looked at every possible technical explanation, server delays, scheduled messages, a send error that resolved itself hours later. He looked at all of it. None of it fully accounts for what happened, because the voice note wasn't sent when he received it. It was sent earlier, much earlier, and arrived at exactly 2:13 a.m., as if something had been waiting for the right moment to deliver it. He still has the voice note saved. He hasn't played it in months. Not since that last time when he made it to that final stretch. That 4-second stretch with the hollow sound and the second voice underneath. And had to stop. Because in that moment, listening through headphones with the lights off, he heard something he hadn't caught before. Underneath everything else, underneath Daniel's voice and whatever that sound was, there was breathing. Calm, slow, close, like whatever was on the other end of that recording knew it was being heard. He keeps his phone face down on the nightstand now. Not because he's afraid. He'll tell you he's not afraid. He'll tell you he's processed it, that he's made peace with the parts that can't be explained, that he understands grief does strange things to perception, makes you find patterns, makes you hear things that aren't there. He'll tell you all of that. But every night, when the room goes dark and the house goes quiet, he checks the time before he closes his eyes, and on the nights it's close to 2 a.m., he waits. He doesn't know what for exactly, maybe for nothing. Maybe for the reminder that some things don't have clean endings, that some silences aren't empty, that the last message someone sends you might carry more than words. It might carry the last piece of them that had somewhere left to go. Last Tuesday, he woke up at 2:11 a.m. He lay still in the dark, watching the ceiling. At 2:13, his phone lit up. He reached for it slowly, turned it over. It was a voice note. 53 seconds long, and the name on the screen was his own. If this story got under your skin, if you felt that shift somewhere around the middle and kept watching anyway, that's exactly why you should subscribe. There are more stories like this one. Stories that don't quite fit into any easy category. Drop a comment below. What do you think that second voice was? And if you made it all the way to the end, you already know what kind of viewer you are. Like the video. It helps more people find these stories. And maybe some stories need to be found